LoreWarrior Online, TYM-1A Toyama. Overview. The Toyama, like the Buccaneer and the Grand Crusader, were designed and built for the Word of Blake, following their exodus to Gibson. Unlike many other new Word of Blake mechs, the Toyama was designed by an outsider, Dr. Thaddeus Annable, a military technology consultant with the Free Worlds League's Heliopolis design labs. As part of an arrangement with Captain General Thomas Marek, Annable passed the design to the Word of Blake, who then put it into production in early 3057. Capabilities. Designed as a multi-purpose mech, the Toyama can engage in extended operations without resupply. Its main weapons are a pair of diverse optics Sunbeam extended range large lasers mounted in the right arm, a Doombud LRM-20 in the torso, and an Imperator Code Red autocannon in the left arm, providing additional firepower in short engagements. With storage capacity for 2 full tons of autocannon ammunition, the Toyama can carry a mix of rounds, allowing the pilot to tailor the loadout to his own preference or mission requirement. A cluster of lasers in the mech's torso provides additional firepower, though their effective range is less than 300 meters, and their tracking capabilities are limited. The Toyama also carries a state-of-the-art defense measure in the right torso, the Guardian ECM system, which limits the effectiveness of advanced targeting and tracking systems used in close proximity to the mech. The original design called for an anti-missile system to be installed alongside this, but space considerations ultimately caused the designers to omit the AMS in favour of a larger LRM launcher. Deployment. To date, the Toyama has been deployed only with the Word of Blake militia. Plans to ship several to the Atrean Dragoons were postponed when the Word of Blake launched Operation Odysseus, in which Blake militia troops masquerading as the mercenary 21st Centauri Lancers infiltrated and sabotaged Comstar defences on Terra. During that operation, the Blakists used at least 4 Toyamas. So this is a 75-ton chassis endo steel. Its power plant is a 300 VLAR XL. It has a cruise speed of 43 and a max speed of 65 kph with no jump capacity. Its armour is Duralex heavy. Armament then is 2 diverse optics Sunbeam extended range large lasers, a Doombud LRM-20, 3 Magna Mark III medium lasers, and a single Imperator Code Red LB-10X autocannon. Its manufacturer is Gibson Federated Battlemechs, primary factory on Gibson, with its communication system being the Basics 200, and its targeting and tracking is the Garrett A99. This translates into a walk of 4, a run of 6, with 28 heat dissipation provided by 14 double heat sinks. It has 9 armour in the head, 30 on the CT, 9 on the rear, 20 on the side torsos with 7 on the rear, and 20 in the arms and 25 on the legs. The 2 ER larges are located in the right arm, as it's stated. The LRM-20 is in the right torso, with 12 rounds of fire also in the right torso as far as ammo is concerned. It has 3 medium lasers in the left torso. The Guardian ECM suite also located in the right torso, which I think is that weird bump thing on the top there. And the LB-10 is in the left arm, with 20 shots worth of ammo also stored in the arm. Overall, I actually really like the Toyama. Visual and from equipment from an equipment standpoint, I'm pretty sure I've done a LoreWarrior about the Toyama before in the past, where I didn't really talk about it in a post-ramble sense. I did pick it because it's one of those mechs that I think the artwork is pretty good. It doesn't have these overly large cannon setups. Alright, granted, the ER large lasers may look a little big on that right arm, but ultimately they're not as crazy as something like the Jingao, for instance. But yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty cool looking mech, and I'm not groaning when I say Word of Blake in this one, because it's just a pretty simple write-up, much like the Buccaneer. It's a mech that's built for this group. Okay, I can believe that. They have a lot of resources, they were doing stuff in secret, that's fine. The idea of them only having a small number when they launched Operation Odysseus makes perfect sense. Don't have a problem with that. That makes perfect sense. It's not like, you know, evil cackling laughter and blood-curdling screams of violence and fascism and all that kind of shite coming out of the Word of Blake as the typical writing is just like, yes, and then he ground the babies into a fine paste under his tank treads. None of that. It's just about mech, which is fine. That's the kind of thing I want to read in a TRO about any faction's combat machine. So, I quite like this design. It's pretty solid. It's got some pretty good range firepower to boot, decent enough heat dissipation. ECM keeps it nice and safe when it does get into the medium to short ranges. It's got that LB-10 that's going to allow it to do some pretty solid damage at short to medium range alongside the medium lasers. Yeah, solid overall. Armor package is I think armor package might be the only thing that's lacking, which makes sense. It does carry a fair amount of weaponry, so its armor isn't going to be amazing. For a 75 tonner, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. 30 on the CT alone is pretty good, and 20 on the side torsos, yeah, it's alright, considering a lot of its space is being taken up by equipment, very heavy equipment as well. LRM-20 is a big old boy. So yeah, it's you're looking at 10 tons just on the LRM-20, for instance, and then another 10 tons being taken up by the two ER large lasers. So you know, 20 ton of its entire mass is just 3 weapon systems. That's before ammo. So yeah, not bad. Oh, I just got some tea there. Yes, the Toyama is a mech that I would be more than happy to use as an opponent mech. It's definitely got the ability to make the players sweat a little bit. It's also one that isn't too bad to get hold of as well. It does have the big drawback, yes, of the XL engine. That is probably its biggest downside, because yeah, with only 20 hit points on the torsos and 16 points internal, it's not going to take much for the mech to go boom. So it's a bit of a risk-reward strategy there, which is good when you're using it as an opponent, because you as a GM are probably going to be happy if the players do manage to obviously to pen that side torso, and then you're just waiting for that engine crit to come in, so that you can go like, and it shuts down or it falls over, you know, the mech has been defeated. As a player, obviously, there's a bit more of a tactical element of making sure that if you get hit, you really don't want those hits to go to the side torsos. You want them to go to the CT or the arms or the legs instead. And the arms have got the same amount of armor as the side torso, so yeah, you do generally you want to spread that kind of damage if possible. But yeah, other than that, I think it is a really solid little machine. And yeah, it looks great. I really like the artwork. It's simple, but it shows off the mech in a great way. And yeah, it's great. I really like it. Which I know is odd to say about Word of Blake one, but I really like the Buccaneer as well. So yeah. Anyway, as always, thanks for listening. I will catch you in the next one. Until then, have a good week, everyone. And yeah, bye.